All right, welcome back to the best colleges. Today we're going to talk about the best colleges in New York City for business. All right, a lot of students, a lot of families want their kids to come to New York come to New York and make some money, learn how business works. With one of my wife's best friends came to New York from Louisiana to be a business major at Stern NYU's College of Business and had an amazing career. So again, New York, money capital of the world, and we want to make sure that we understand how that works. But we're not going to talk about Columbia University and NYU today. Why? Because you already know those schools. I want to make sure that you understand that of the 4,000 colleges and universities across the country and 2,000 that award bachelor's degrees, that there are other schools in which your child can get great business education in New York City. So today we're going to talk about Baruch, Fordham, Pace, and St. John's. And in that, I'm going to show you something that I really hope that you'll take even further. This is me nerding out and showing you how I research colleges for a living, but also in my own time. But I want to show you how to use the college scorecard. We'll talk about Baruch specifically. We'll talk about Baruch last and what this means in terms of median earnings and how you can use college scorecard to get an idea of how much students can expect, hope to earn after graduation. So let's start with St. John's first. St. John's in Queens, again, they admit 85% of their students. And I'm a big believer in having 7 to 12 schools in which schools kids apply to. You know, a school that could be a REACH school that has maybe 25% less, 25 or less acceptance rate, 25 to like 50 is like a target range, 60 even, and then 60 and above is more like a safety school. So I want to make sure that you can put it into those buckets of REACH schools, 25% admit rate or less, target schools 25, 30 to about 60, and then 65 and up for a safety school. So again, St. John's is an excellent institution that does a great service by admitting so many students, but also giving them access to New York City. Um, Students admitted versus students enrolled, very good early decision. They take a lot of students, 63%, the 95% early action, 79 regular decision. Here's their standardized testing numbers and their GPA expectations. Again, I do think that if a student has a 3.0, it is not out of realm of possibility for them to be admitted. Their admissions policies, of course, if you've seen me be part of if you've been part of the best college series before, you see that I always talk about academics, activities, admissions requirements, and acceptance rates. Graduation rates, always something good to look at, and then financial aid. All right, let's look at, they're talking about business primarily, but look at the other programs that St. John's has. Okay, in business, we got them all. We got accounting, we got finance, we got insurance, we got marketing, retail management, or marketing, retail management. Great, great, great opportunities at St. John's. I really want people to always prioritize, in my humble opinion, look at schools that will give you an opportunity to not be in debt. If St. John's gives students an opportunity not to be in debt from a cost perspective, particularly if you can live at home, no shame in that, please consider it. I really want students to do that. Um, because I want to talk about the median earnings things, I don't want to get, I'm going to go into Fordham next. Fordham Austin School, again, about a target range, depends on what the grades are, but a 54% admit rate, I like that number a lot. Students admitted, early decision, early action. Again, these are great numbers to discuss. And if you've watched previous episodes, I'm not showing it today, but you can always go to the common data set to learn more data about admission and enrollment that I think is critical for families to have. Standardized testing, GPA preferences. These are ballpark ranges. I don't want people to get too obsessed with standardized testing and GPA. These are ballpark that they publish, right? These are actual statistics that I don't want you to say, well, I don't fit into that, then I should not consider it. No, let's always think about ways to be admitted to college. What admissions pieces are considered, alumni relation is considered, which I think is awesome. Graduate within 4 years, and then, of course, the financial aid piece of the puzzle. All right, we look at the academic programs. We can always say we're talking about business. So let's look at all the different business opportunities that they have. Again, where you're in New York, you're living the good life, you're living the expensive life. So you might as well learn how to make some money. What I really like about Fordham is that it's in the Rosemont area of the Bronx, Rose Hill, excuse me. And what it does is it has a green space. It's a college campus in the Bronx. It's actually really, really pretty, but you still have access to the train. You still have access to the city for weekends. So again, when a student is 18 to 22, 23, you want to give them an opportunity to live a little bit. In New York, you'll live. So it is very, very important that, as a Roman Catholic university, they say there's a plenty of variation in ethnic background in students, political, social, and religious views. And I think it's really, really a cool place to be. Okay, so I'm a big fan of Fordham for a variety of reasons. If you ever want to do a tour, a campus reel of tour, campus tour, these are some of the things that I consider. We're going to go to college scorecard for Baruch in a second. All right, here we go. I try to keep these under 10 minutes. Fordham, we talked about pace. Again, NYU and Columbia are not the only schools that can help your students learn business in New York, all right? What did I say, NYU and Columbia? Yes, NYU and Columbia. Great schools, got nothing against them, but I want to make sure people understand that there are other options for them. I'm a big believer in redefining success. Where a student goes to college does not determine what they're going to be when they grow up. It's important that we as adults share this information with them and that we educate ourselves with this information so that students learn more. Yes, 82% regular decision, and then we have 95% early decision. Love it. Admissions considerations, we always look at that. So we can look at academics, activities, what you can do. New York, too much to do. And then obviously acceptance rates and admissions requirements. Okay, all right. I'm chugging along. No, we're not going to look at that. Let's look at now Baruch. All right. I want to make sure I give you ample time to think, to learn more. All right, Baruch. Again, 50%. So it's a competitive business program here. Very selective. All right. Students admitted, 50% admit rate. GPA is expected high. ACT scores, they don't share that information, but they do share the SAT information and what's considered. The part that I want to show you is particularly about Baruch, and this goes for any school. A website that I love is called College Scorecard. College Scorecard is produced by the Department of Education, and it shows a wealth of information about different schools that not just shows you what the cost of the schools, but also what the median earnings is for students at the midpoint of 4-year schools. Okay, so this is what they're at $75,000 median earnings. What does median earnings mean? I wanted to make sure that I could hit you with that, so I went to the glossary of the college scorecard. What does median earnings mean? What does all this mean? So I highlighted, like, you know what? Let me distill this. Let's use a little bit of ChatGPT to figure out. Let me explain to you like you're in 5th grade. Okay? I'm not going to pretend. Sometimes I need to hear it like this. Imagine you just finished a school program like college and got a job. Median earnings is like finding the middle number if you lined up how much everyone who studied the same thing as you earns. It's not the highest or the lowest, just the middle. This number shows how much people who got help from the government or for school are earning 5 years after they finish. So median earnings is after 5 if they finish, but remember, they're going to have some debt. Okay? They only count people who are working and not still in school. Numbers are from the year 2020, which still might be a little different because of the pandemic. Median earnings. So you need to understand that median debt is the middle amount of debt for students who finish their program and borrowed money. All right. So when I look at median earnings, I show families this because you want to make sure that they are able to see exactly what they can be expected to eventually earn at some point. Again, what majors do they earn the most money from? Here you go, highest earnings, all right? Mathematics degree, this is for Baruch, right? We're still in Baruch. Mathematics, accounting, finance degree. I'm a big believer in return on investment. We must be sending our kids to college thinking about cost, number one, location, possible major, possible career. We want there to be a very intentional reason that they're there so that they can either live their dreams or make some money and get off payroll, okay? So I'm going to go back here. I promise I'm almost 10 seconds. Sorry, I'm not going to make it. Columbia, we know, is a great business school. NYU, we know, or great business school, Stern. And oftentimes when you go to these schools and you live in New York or go to school in New York, you get great opportunities on Wall Street. But let's not forget about Baruch or Fordham or Pace or St. John's. These are, if your child wants to be in New York City and wants to study business, I really believe that they should investigate these schools. And I would love for them to go to College Scorecard and learn more about each school, right? They can just type in any school and learn about how that school, learn more about paying for college, alternative pathways to career. One of my favorite websites to do research for building college lists for students. This is our Best Colleges series. I hope that you enjoyed looking at some of the best schools in New York City that have business programs. Check us out, Strategic Admissions Advice, if you want to learn more.